What do you think about the rise of communism here inside the United States?
The rise of communism? That would be hard for me to answer unless we have a shared definition of communism.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Let me rewind so you can hear it again.
What do you think about the rise of communism here inside the United States?
The rise of communism? That would be hard for me to answer unless we have a shared definition of communism.
What just happened? She was asked what she thought about communism. But before the question could reach the policies, the consequences, or the history, the definition itself was placed under review. The conversation changed jurisdiction. Now listen to how the same move appears again.
What do you think about the rise of communism here inside of America? The ideas of communism.
I don't think I would agree with the premise of the question.
How would you rephrase it?
Or let me just answer that I don't think communism is rising in America.
Different woman, different wording. The same structural move. Do not enter the question. First, challenge the category containing it. The interviewer is no longer asking her to explain her position. He is now being asked to defend his permission to use the word communism. Now watch what happens after he gives her the definition she asked for.
Okay, thank you for this definition. My thoughts are pretty positive. I feel aligned. I can't really speak to specifics, but I think I'm pretty pro-communism. I'm pro making things accessible. I'm pretty pro getting rid of prisons.
She began by requiring precision. But once the definition was supplied, she did not examine the policies with greater precision. She moved almost immediately to alignment. I feel aligned. The political question became a moral and emotional one. Not, what would the system do? But, do these intentions feel compassionate to me? Now listen to what happens when the second woman is asked about the ideas themselves.
What do you think about some of the ideas that are becoming very popular here inside the United States?
I'm a professor here at NYU, and I can tell you those are not communist ideas, right? Those ideas can belong to a social justice agenda or a left liberal agenda, but I wouldn't describe those as communism. So I think in order for your question to work, the assumption that communism equals those things needs to be rectified.
Notice what she does here. She doesn't get rid of the policies. She gets rid of the word communism. Now they become social justice, left liberal ideas. And suddenly the conversation isn't about whether those policies work. It's about what we're allowed to call them. Because once you control the label, you control which history comes with it. And then the definition becomes even harder to challenge.
Would you rather have capitalism or communism?
Well, communism as it is in the Marx Engels Communist Manifesto has never been implemented in society. They say in the Communist Manifesto that communism is primed for countries like England, America, and I think the Netherlands as it was, when they wrote it in the 1800s. So when they implemented it in Russia and China, they bypassed the sort of systems of industrialization needed to make communism effective. And so I think that we've never seen communism work. We've never been able to see it work in systems where it's applicable. And so I don't think I can answer that question correctly without fully seeing a system of communism in effect.
Out of China, Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela, what's been your favorite form of communism?
Well, again, like I said before, those aren't real forms of communism.
This is where the definition becomes protected. The ideal gets to keep the good intentions, equality, care, accessibility. But when you bring up the historical outcomes, those examples are removed from the category. So if the idea sounds good, that counts. If the result turns bad, that was never the real thing. And that makes the definition almost impossible to challenge. So here's the full pattern. First, challenge the label. Then make the questioner defend the label. Keep the appealing parts of the idea, and remove the failed outcomes from the definition. At that point, the conversation is no longer about what the system does. It becomes a debate over which words are allowed to describe it. And once the definition controls the evidence, the frame controls the conclusion. So the next time a political question suddenly turns into a debate over terminology, pause. The clarification may be legitimate, but ask yourself, did the definition make the subject clearer? Or did it protect the subject from being examined? Or did it protect the subject from being examined? Or did it protect the subject from being examined?